recording.
Mhm.
And we don't have anybody joining us online that we can see. Keep an eye on that. So, is there, well, public comment? Everybody here has a speaking role, as we don't want. So the public, the meeting minutes from January 16, did everybody have a chance to look at those and review them?
Yes.
Any further edits or questions? If not, we'd have a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 16th meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Donations. I took this, Susan, off your report. But because I did it before I got Liz's report. $197 in January. I'm sure Liz detailed that, as I recall. Anybody have any questions about donations? No? Any questions? Is there a motion to accept the donations of $197 received in January?
I'll make a motion to accept donation received of $197.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Computer's late.
Okay, work to treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Looking at the trustee accounts, the trustees made $2.48 across the two interest-bearing accounts. And the CD interest for the month was $203.17, which includes the new CD, but does not include the CD from First Seacoast Bank, because we get their statements quarterly. So we don't know what January is. And big activity for our trustee account was the maturing of the 4-month CD at the end of January 25th, and then rolling that amount into a 3-month CD that will mature in April. So that CD, the one that we just rolled over, it totaled $366.94 in interest.
Well, that's not bad.
Over the 4 months. And that rate was 4.32. The newer rate is 2.0. Big activity there. As far as any questions? As far as the
CDs.
As far as the directors, visa expense was about $146, all from town expenses. We just said that accepted donations of $197 and $176 was spent. And the other account, fines and miscellaneous, took in $385, and debits were a little over about $405. So those accounts, as the report shows, the grants and donation accounts over $10,000, and the fines and miscellaneous about $4,000. And those accounts go for items and purchases that are not covered in the budget.
Did you and Melanie get around to purchasing backup?
Yes,
Equipment or whatever.
So we purchased a thumb drive and an external hard drive. And those expenses, which was about $90, I don't know, 88 or 89.
Yeah, 88 and change.
Something like that.
Less than we had authorized,
Right.
like 125.
Right.
About.
You'll see that activity in the February report, but yes, that's done.
Okay.
Now it's backup. Yeah, we're doing the backup and getting ready to launch. No.
Something in handy too, just because I'm using my work computer. That's the only computer that I have. So to be able to have all of our trustee related stuff on this that's completely separate from my work is.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yes, and again, just with Susan and I sharing spreadsheets too. We ran into this where someone makes an update and then the next person makes an update, and whose version is the most recent version. So there's a learning curve there on my part, but we're
We're
getting
getting
there.
there. Yeah, there we go. We're figuring it out.
Anything else from the treasurer? Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and here we are up to the select board liaison report. Dana, what do you have to say for it?
Everything's safe for 3 minutes.
You don't need 10?
It's 5:40, so I don't.
We're moving ahead of the,
Talking right along. I think all of you, attended or heard about the, deliberative session. Nothing new. I think, again, someone spoke out for the library at our last meeting, and so still going. There was a little suspicion, the ABC was not pleased, with the idea of not making any changes to the warrant article. I thought it was a pretty superficial move, but I think we all kind of approved of that, but you probably knew that was going to happen there.
is that because they would have liked to have revoted the.
Right, yeah, because one of the alternates voted for one of the other full members, so they thought they were ready to be unpleased anyway, so it didn't matter to me.
Yeah. Although I
don't
thought
think it
that's Steve Saunders who had been not supportive.
Well, that's the irony of the thing is.
He had a pretty nice presentation.
Yeah, he might very well have approved, but it's done, so.
Well, the person who did vote no would have voted no
Yeah, well,
regardless.
yeah.
So it might not have changed the vote,
No,
but
well, it was assumed that Steve would vote no.
Yeah.
And he may not.
yeah. Well, I hope he doesn't vote no when he goes in the booth as a result.
Again, that wasn't,
Don't they have a blue car, like a small, like a Mazda or something? Yeah. Okay, there's a difference with it. Oh.
We won't say anything for you there.
so essentially, it's no big change from the select board where I think certainly the select board collectively is very much in favor of this and pretty extensive. There is a candidate forum Thursday. There are 4 people vying, or 3 people vying for two slots in the school board. And then Rob Russell and I are running for select board, and the rest are unopposed. So they may have an opportunity, and everyone has an opportunity to speak, even if they're unopposed.
Just to say why they're running for office and what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
Short.
Exactly.
That looks really short.
Yeah. So I think it starts at 6:30.
Mhm.
Select board.
So do you want us to be there in the audience to
Throw softballs.
ask you softball questions? Do you support the library?
Not on my teeth a little bit, yes, but in fact, that's going to be part of my opening remarks is supporting the library and the TIF district and a variety of things. But anyway, yes, indeed, I would be very nice if you can, but I don't know if there'll be a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's gonna be a big, well, I don't know about the school board, so
Yeah,
I'm interested to watch it.
And Melanie's.
I'm gonna be.
We're gonna be
If
there.
we're all gonna be there, well, I guess I should go just to be supportive.
That was in fun.
I assume that Mr. Russell and I will have pretty short.
I don't know,
I think.
and I don't know what's up with the school board either.
Yeah, there are two candidates.
Rick Walker is running, isn't he?
Rick Walker is the only one without kids in school. Mr.
That's not a bad thing.
There's
Yeah.
Jason Baker.
I don't know who that is.
Jason Baker, do you know, Libby Allen? Are you familiar with her? She's a frequent library user, and her husband Jason is, Oyster River High School guidance counselor.
Oh, okay.
They are big library supporters, and he's a
So, and you said 3 people running, so who's the third person?
Tim Hatfield.
Yeah.
He was on the school board previously.
Okay, and he's running for.
He was appointed to
Interesting.
fill Stephanie's position when she retired.
Interesting. So when is the next, select board meeting?
This Monday,
This coming Monday?
right?
And is that the meeting at which the select board is gonna select volunteer or volunteers to recognize?
We already did that.
Oh, you did that? I missed that.
Well, we haven't announced it, that's why I didn't say
Oh.
anything. Right.
No, because I didn't, I mean, I sat in on the last meeting, but maybe you did it in non-public. I don't know, but I thought it was there. Anyway, I missed it.
Yeah, we haven't announced it, so I didn't say anything.
Okay, when is it gonna be announced?
It'll be announced soon.
So nevertheless, when is the select board's next meeting? Is it Monday?
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm going to miss 2 select board meetings in a row.
where are you going?
It's the first time in Spain, actually.
Oh, Spain.
It's my homage to Catalonia. Homage to the Abraham Lincoln Brigade.
Oh,
You don't know about the Abraham
No, I don't.
Lincoln Brigade. If you have time, a long time, I can explain it. The Spanish Civil War.
oh,
Abraham Lincoln, 25.
so when you go to Spain, this is not library business, I'm just curious. What part of Spain are you going to?
Went to Madrid and Barcelona. Several, the Abraham Lincoln Brigade participated in.
Well, I've been to Guernica. That's when you said Spanish Civil War. I thought, oh, are you going up to the Basque
And then
country?
we'll see Guernica, the Cato.
You're just gonna see the picture.
That's powerful.
I know the story.
Yeah, it was very moving.
Yeah, when I saw that.
Anything else to offer? Questions?
Anxious for world peace.
Well, thank you. Now we're up to Liz's report. That's right. Okay.
All right, so we had the whole hoopla about hoopla. So we, it solved itself. We upped it to $600 for right now. It was $450. It was actually $500 for the month of January, people running out. So we went down to 2 checkouts, but with $600. And I'm checking it every day. We're not running over budget. Nobody's hitting any ceilings. And we're gonna end February vacation's coming, but I mean, as of for today, there's $85 for today because it's been rolling. Nobody's checked anything out for several days.
I'm scared.
Well, no,
I don't know. No, and we only, in January, we had 13 new users for Hoopla. In February, so far, we only have 1.
interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep monitoring it. I mean, I'm not sure that I can go full bore and go back to 3 checkouts because that seemed, people were either checking out 1 or they're checking out all 3. The middle 2, you're looking at the statistics, there's a whole lot of people checking out 1, very few 2, and then you'd be back up for 3. I don't, with it.
Well, I have to admit, personally, I now feel guilty.
In the same boat with you. Every time I think about it.
It's like, oh, I just spent, I won't, I know that sounds foolish, but
Well, I know Hoopla must be hurting because like Manchester cut them and Nashua cut them. So they're like starting in March, the last week of the month, they're gonna have bonus checkouts.
yeah, I'll wait till the
So
last.
yeah, this is the market dictating to them that actually maybe it's too expensive. So I thought that was good. We'll see. Staff, yeah, well, we have no desk clerks. We're just really kind of taking 2-hour shifts out there. 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and tonight 6 to 8, something like
And
that.
how are books getting back on the shelves?
We're all doing it. We had Susan today, thankfully, because we had a heavy load because of the holiday. Poor Susan came in and was just like, but thank you. We couldn't have done it without you today. It was just pile after pile after pile. Yeah, I mean, some days have been heavier than others, and we just all kind of take turns. I know some people like Kate, they like to shelve. When you need a break, I'm just going to go out and shelve. Okay.
Interesting.
So that's working out so far.
Liz is gonna have a recommendation tonight to present, I hope, for the morning desk clerk position.
Yes.
She hasn't backed out yet, right?
She hasn't backed out yet. I sent her all the paperwork and she actually did it all.
So, and when Liz and I talked about this, in between last week or whatever, the problem that we were having such a problem as far as the wage, it's just too low. The starting wage, I think I brought you probably have it too, the wage scale thing.
What's the starting wage? Well, if you go to
Yeah.
was it 13.24 on this through this April?
1324, the current wage scale that runs through March and continues if we don't get the budget passed. And
13.57 if the budget passes.
it's just not,
No, I ran the numbers. I looked at all the jobs on the state library website, comparable. Assistants, aides, people helping out in children, things that were doing the same sort of thing. The average was $16.96 an hour.
and Lucy left for the same job in Durham at $18 an hour. We're certainly not gonna approach
Yeah,
that.
no. So we had a very nice candidate who was actually working in another library up in Farmington that we wanted to hire. Whether or not she got scared by the wage scale, I don't know, but she turned us down. Said that she was hoping to find a full-time position, and then I said to Wendy, I said I shouldn't have advertised the afternoon one again when I offered her the morning one. I should have waited and seen, because she could probably see that both of those are out there, and gee, maybe they could just put that together and have a full-time position,
Which of course it would not, because
which is
that
not.
would incur benefit costs.
Yes, so we can't go there. So that might have been her. So she's looking for a full-time job. What we are seeing when we're getting the resumes in for this low wage that we are offering is we aren't getting people who would be capable of doing market basket, or we're getting the people who can't handle the stress or the physicality of just about any other job, and they see desk clerk and they think, oh, okay, I can go sit at a desk and just check out books. This is a very physical position, as you know. You're up and down on stools, you're moving around, you're throwing books around, the whole thing. So Savannah Garrity was our second after this first person. She currently works over in Rochester afternoons for an after-school program. So she's looking for something in the morning. She told us she was looking to get into libraries, but the good thing about our position was we weren't looking for any experience. Well, we prefer experience, but we can't get it. So we are going to be having to train her.
And eventually you can go to Rochester.
Well, that was the thing I said to Wendy, I said, I can just see we're going to be a pipeline for the local library systems. We'll train them and they'll move along. We're good mentors, but we really need, so she was very excited when I was talking with her. She adjusted her after school program hours. She thought she was going to have to be there at 2, but she isn't going to have to be there until 2. She thinks she'll be able to work until 2:30. So we might have her from 9:30 to 2:30 most mornings. And because she does work within the school system, like next week, she's like, I can work every day until 5.
And she's already had a criminal background check.
And yes, she's had
So
it. Yes.
we'll have to do-
She's been
We'll still have to
fingerprinted.
do it again.
How
But-
is it though?
What we have done before with somebody who came in already from a job that they've already been screened is that we were able to bring them on and get them trained and started while we're still doing our own check. And those are going much faster. For a while, they were
yes.
like weeks and weeks. And now I think they turn them around in a couple weeks.
Yes,
Like that.
yeah, during COVID, it was like 3 months. Now it's down to 2 to 3 weeks is usually, if I remember to put the check in.
So when we talked about this, Liz and I, do we have an emergency board meeting in order to approve the hire? And so Liz has offered her the position subject to trustee
Board approval.
approval. The other thing that Liz and I talked about was hiring her in at the beginning of grade 3 instead of grade 2. So, which starts at,
14.
1443 is the current starting. If we've tried to get the person over $14, which is still less than you can earn at Market Basket, we would have had to hire at step 4 of grade 2, and that didn't feel right to hire somebody in that many steps into the grade that it was in. So that led to the report that Liz sent out to you about realigning that position and considering going back to doing a page. In other words, having fewer hours of that position in order to carve out hours for a page just to do the shelving kind of stuff.
If we cut back at the hours, is it gonna be worth anything for people to sign up for a few hours?
Of page work,
And clerk work.
well, I'll let you.
What we are getting, what we are seeing, we have people who weren't as interested in more hours because they're trying to cobble together a schedule with their other work. So the 27 hours was
A
generally
little bit too much.
more than they were looking for.
And particularly if you're starting, you're not starting until 9:30 in the morning. It's not like you could do one job from 8 to 12 and another one from,
Yeah.
1 to 5 or something.
Yeah, we had people who were definitely, everybody we interviewed, even this person we were going to be hired, when she originally was interviewing, she thought she'd be available only 9:30 to 1:30.
Now, probably at least 2
Yes.
and some alternate weekends or whatever.
Yeah, I keep telling everybody, every other Saturday, you have to be able to work every other Saturday. And we were sort of asking if they'd work every Saturday, but nobody was interested.
Um, so let's, I guess we can, often we go into non-public when we're talking about hiring, although I'm not sure that this requires it for this person. What do you think, Liz?
I don't think I can pass around her resume or anything if anybody wants it.
What's her name?
Savannah Garrity.
Savannah Garrity. And she is resident of Rochester?
She lives on my street.
Pardon?
She lives on my street.
Oh, Rochester. Oh, and they.
She doesn't know that. That's the only thing that makes me uncomfortable.
So people have questions about this particular hire. How do you feel about hiring her in the grade 3, at the beginning of the grade 3?
Didn't we hire her at the original grade and then after 30-day review, bump her up?
I don't know. Quite honestly, I wouldn't take a job.
No.
But if she knew that if everything was fine, that,
I don't-
It's so low.
It's already so low.
okay,
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out.
you can let it go
If it
either
doesn't work
way.
out, she's gonna
Okay.
take a hike.
Yeah.
In reading the proposal, I really like changing the type.
Yes.
I mean, that,
I think that's one of the
Some of it.
problems that occurred with the salary survey that was done by the firm. Because they had a list of titles and they looked in the towns, and if the town wasn't using that title, they didn't make a guess that maybe a library assistant 1 is the same as a desk clerk. You can't tell that.
right,
And when I looked at the state website, there were a lot more use of the library assistant title. I rarely saw the title desk clerk.
right, I agree, me too.
Yeah, I think it's easier to make it a more
So
description.
that's what's giving us the people who think that this is a sit-down job.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, do we want to hold off on the motion to hire this person as library assistant and go through the realignment and make a decision about that plan and then come back and vote the hire? We need to do both tonight. Does it make-
I was gonna say, yeah, when do you want to do that? Because we need her right away.
Yeah. And she can start tomorrow if we do this today.
Okay.
No grass growing under our feet on this one.
I think. So what we're suggesting is hiring Savannah Garrity at grade 3, step 1, 1443 per hour.
Yeah, and retitling the position.
And retitling.
And then Liz will have to maybe next month come in with, once we get through this realignment, job descriptions, revised job descriptions for
Right,
everything.
okay, so the proposal is hiring Savannah Garrity as a library assistant, starting at grade 3, step 1, $14.43.
Is that a motion?
1443.
That's what she said.
What did I say?
I think you said 1442.
No, she said.
Okay, 1443. Yes.
Just to make sure.
Is that your motion?
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second.
Is there any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The page. Exactly, you have a, this is the page.
Let's talk about the whole realignment because it affects, one of the challenges when you move one person up a grade is you have to look at who else is already there. And do you have to make other changes? So that's what led to this whole realignment thing. So Liz, you're on.
Yes, so currently our interlibrary loan librarian or library assistant, Kate McCarthy, is currently a grade 3, step 1. She stepped into that position in August for September. In September, Susan Miliota, who'd had it before, was a couple steps higher than her because she'd been in it for a while. So Kate is currently making $14.43 per hour. I think she has a sufficiently detailed enough job that she really should be grade 4, step 1 at 16.21 an hour, starting April 1st with the new budget, should the budget pass. She does all the interlibrary loans. She helps out at the desk. She shelves at a moment's notice. She's also, doing all the overdue notices, calling people, writing up letters and stuff like that. So she's a little bit higher up, I think, on the food chain than the current desk clerk. And I think she does enough that I really think she should be a grade higher. And so she goes up to grade 4, step 1. We hire library assistants at grade 3, step 1. Most of these, like we'd have library assistant mornings or library assistant 1 or whatever, something like that. And that would be the morning person. And then I thought we should, obviously the afternoon, evening person should be a library assistant as well. Before Savannah said she could work more hours, but I reworked and worked the numbers for both of these. I was figuring about 21 hours a week for each position, because when we were doing the interviews, there was a lot of 27, 25 is not going to work for me, or I'm not going to be able to combine these two. We split those out. So instead of 25 and 27, if we have two 21s, then we would have like 8 to 10 hours that we could play with to potentially hire a high school or homeschool page, someone of that nature, who could come in maybe 2 hours a day or an hour a day, more likely 2 hours a day in the late afternoon, and just shelve everything.
And I think there has to be a minimum of 2 hours by state
Yes.
labor laws. You
It
have
is.
to pay a person a minimum of 2 hours, no matter how many hours they actually work.
The reason I brought up page is because most of the schools go around, I think Dover does too. They have a volunteer program. They have to give so many hours of community service a semester. And maybe you could get a couple of those each semester to just volunteer.
Possibly.
If they could commit to 2 hours a week.
There's a learning curve on.
Yeah, I understand that.
I was gonna say, let's hear from our volunteer page, Susan.
It's the learning curve. I mean, there's a lot that goes into
Getting
the shoving and knowing, just the shoving and knowing the nuances.
Is the person, I'm just curious, is the person who is doing the shelving, right now it's one person doing the whole thing. So does a page put the books in order and numerical order in which they will need to be shelved?
We could do it either way. I do know, all right, so I will say I have some background in this. Over at Nottingham, I had a page when I first got there. She graduated, went to college. So then I hired 2 pages to split the position. Because as we all know, high school students have sports and music and plays and a million other things. And I didn't think I would be able to have somebody there every day and over there, I was asking them to work weekends with the senior staff member. They weren't using, we did eventually teach them to use the circulation system, but we wouldn't be doing that here. We simply need somebody who can come in and do the heavy lifting. Just come in, we could set up the carts for them, we could have it on the shelves, or it's probably better if we teach them to put them in order before they get out there. So that there isn't, I know some of our recent hires have been like, well, I don't think it's very important that I get it in order. If it's in the right shelf, isn't that good enough? No. No, and it takes a while. It took me several months to get everybody over there comfortable with their shelving that we could let them do it on their own. We were, laying the books on the sides.
Which is what they do here too.
And when we tried that, when we had the vacancy, we tried it with a page. And I think we never got to the point where all the work didn't have to be double checked.
No, it's the learning curve. And I think if we're paying them, they have more skin in the game.
Right.
Yes.
As far as that was shown.
Yeah,
To manage all kinds of volunteers too.
yes.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it's easy to shelve books.
It's
not.
Honorable kids from Oyster River.
different letter combinations that will trip you up. That's just letters. Then there's.
And the DVDs and the CH means children's, and we had constant problems with the DVDs. The TVs were with the movies, and the children's.
It's really
You really have to pay attention.
And then for authors that are prolific, sometimes they have series, sometimes they don't, and so you have to put the series in a certain place. And even today I had everybody had a different answer in the background.
That one. That's for the next staff
We already
meeting.
have the page position created, because we created it a couple of years ago. And Liz gave numbers as to if we put that at grade 1 or grade 2. I'm kind of inclined towards grade 1. I know it's really low, but it's.
I advertised it over there for those people who wanted to have their kid have a job in town. That was the choir I was playing to. Oh, your kid can have a job in town at the library. It's quiet. I would say it's safe. We were on a main road. We could try advertising it. I mean, I don't know if we need 1 or 2 people to split it. But there might be some students out there who want to work or want to get job experience, but don't feel comfortable going to McDonald's or Aroma Joe's.
Well, and even though I just said I feel more comfortable with one pays $12.50.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Yeah, I will say, looking on the state library website, Chichester totally blew my mind with an ad they had the other day. They were looking for a story time library assistant, and they were offering $12 an hour. I want to call over there and say, you getting any money? But they might. You never know. Somebody I've had a woman in here who keeps asking about the desk clerk position. She's like, does it have to be 18? And she's got her daughter with her, and I'm like, that one has to be 18.
But I wonder, could we have a 16? Could we lower our hiring age for Paige to 16?
I hired 2 16-year-olds over in Nottingham. I did run a background check on them with their parents' permission. just the basic one. One of them didn't have a
Anything
license.
from the background check, because it's all juvenile at that point.
It is, but
You're talking about
you don't get much, but at least you have done your due diligence.
16-year-old serial killer doesn't show up.
No, they don't show up.
I guess I'm gonna ask it several questions in a certain order. Are people comfortable with this proposal to have the two desk clerks, now called library assistants, and a page replacing the two desk clerk positions we've got now?
I don't think we have any choice at this point.
Susan, what do you want to
So
say?
it's variation on what you're saying. It's something else to try. I mean,
Yeah.
so far, what we have hasn't been working. I guess the question, and then a question I have is, until a page is hired, and if we get another library assistant, you'll have two people working 21 hours for the hours that aren't covered, I guess. Continue doing the
Yeah,
test.
I remember one of the reasons we had the desk clerks, the hours, we were trying to have like a half-hour overlap, because remember when there was no overlap between the two, they wouldn't
Right.
always be good coordination, good
Mhm.
handoff.
Yes.
So that's a scheduling issue. You'll have to figure that out.
But I think changing the name, yes, I think it's worth a try.
So people are comfortable with that. I think I hear people are comfortable with going to grade 3 for the library assistant and going to grade 4 for the ILL librarian.
Yes.
What is your thinking about the pay rate for the page?
I'm more inclined to go with the grade 2
Because of the numbers?
because of the numbers.
And if the budget passes, grade 2 would start at 1364. Grade 1 would still be 1251.
Can I offer just a suggestion that might sit better? Keep the grades the same and start people at a step higher.
Sit better with the rest of the town.
Right.
Yeah, and my feeling was once we got through this discussion, then I was gonna put together the plan and ask to meet with Connor and review this.
I think they'll be more favorable to that.
I mean, we can do what we want.
I understand you can. I appreciate that. I'm just. And I know you can.
Yeah, I know, but I don't wanna have people feel like we're
Right.
messing around with stuff.
And maybe that would be a good approach, and definitely with the page of starting grade 1 at a different
It just looks a little,
depth.
and again, you get to do what you want, but. kind of look better for the rest of the crowd. Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
But if it does, it is.
I mean, I look at this and we have, there are various positions. I'm looking at the list of where things are. So transfer station attendant is in grade 3. The recreation weekend and evening supervisor is grade 2, at least in this. Minute taker and library page is the only thing in grade 1. Custodians is grade 4.
That means I get paid for taking that.
Yeah. But no, they have minute takers for the planning board, I think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Conservation Commission.
Yeah. What do you think about Dan's suggestion
So
about
what step would a grade 2 be to be equal to grade 3, step 1?
if grade 2 library assistant, in order to get that to be that, it would be about grade 4 to 5.
You mean step 4?
Step 4 to 5 in grade 2, which is like almost halfway into the,
Yeah.
even with no experience. Grade, if we left ILL then at grade 3, we would be wanting to jump her up to also like grade 5 or 6.
I think that position should be a higher grade
The ILL,
Yes.
yeah, that
A
one
lot
should
more
be a higher grade.
a lot more responsibility.
Okay, so definitely moving that one. Other
It's
comments?
such good PR for the library. You know, she's so.
Oh, yeah, I have no qualms about, and even Kate left. To get somebody
Right.
to do that
Right.
kind of job, it actually is something that we promoted other people
Right.
into.
Right.
Um, So you have to have a step, you know, a step up to get there. Yes,
Again, just part of the suggestion is if we have a particular person that we want to promote or want to get them more money, it's pretty neat thing to, it's easier to move up a step or two. And then the next person you hire in, if that person leaves, you may want to start from at this lower level. So, so if you have the ILL, I think I use ILL too. If it's a grade 4, if it's a grade 3, higher step, then the next person you hire, if you need to hire another person, then you start them.
But to me, step is more like seniority.
Well,
it's supposed to,
It's actually supposed to be merit, is what it is, and in fact, it's
Mostly,
seniority.
yeah, mostly
Yes.
seniority, but
Yeah.
it's step, but the grade is the responsibility level.
right,
All right,
So
I'm not really fighting just one, I'm just suggesting it's kind of an overall, overarching.
I think that would be all right to do with this, maybe the step 2. The grade 2 step, a higher step, but definitely the other position needs to be a different grade higher.
so if we moved Kate up to grade 4. But we left the library assistant at grade 2,
Step 5 or something.
step 5 or something. I mean, we wouldn't want to advertise it as grade 2 and here's the range. If we never intend to hire anybody at less than step 5. I mean, that seems kind of, I understand what you're saying about not wanting other departments to feel like we're just monkeying around and we're not asking for more money to do this. We're manipulating the funds we already have.
We're also worried about getting people to take the jobs because they're not gonna
Yeah.
make enough money.
Yeah, well, money's a separate issue.
Well, it sounds to me like the reason to keep it at step 2 and just hire at a higher level within is about not wanting to have town administration feel unhappy.
But also a higher step. We call it prestige or accomplishment or achievement, or just
Well, it
being
should
higher
be
than step 2 is pretty much almost at the bottom of the
Yeah,
thing, or the person can do 3, well, at least working their way up on higher than the ground.
I hear sort of a divided.
I feel strongly that the grade increase for interlibrary loan, what Robert's saying, the library assistant. I mean, this position has been just such a bugaboo for so
It's just a
long.
revolving door with
It's a
long
revolving
absences in
door,
between
and-
time.
And it is about the money. But we're just saying money versus town administration, and so, just how to play that out.
I mean, I would think, I look at this and I'd say, I think what we expect out of a desk clerk between customer service and the kind of issues that come up there and all the computer service and the confidentiality of records and all those expectations, to me, at least qualifies it to be in the same level as a transfer station attendant. And I know they have a lot of responsibility as well, but,
If we
getting
have,
the boxes and getting the plastic.
whether
out
we
there.
have it at a step 2 or step 3, it's not gonna affect the tax rate, it's not
No,
gonna
it's
affect
not
the
gonna
town
affect the
budget,
budget.
it's not gonna affect
No.
anything, so we should be able to do what we think is best for hiring people.
you know, I'm sensitive to a couple of years ago when we moved the desk clerk from grade 1, the lowest paid job in town, to grade 2. I got some pushback, and, you know, I talked to Connor about it, and he really didn't love, because they had just, and I understand his position, they had just gone through the salary thing, just made the adjustment, and to have almost immediately, you know, 1 year later, we're moving things around for the library. And George Bailey was very unhappy with me about that. I didn't really hear from other select board members, but I think George had kind of other issues beyond. I think he was offended that we didn't come to the select board before implementing it, but I think that was somewhat of a different issue. So,
We also had reassigned the assignment or the duties at that time too, didn't we?
I don't recall that we changed the duties when we moved the desk clerk from grade 1 to grade 2. It was just, we couldn't, you know, it was again, months of being understaffed. And at some point, we're gonna lose the higher level staff who were asked to step in and do these jobs on top of their own work. And it goes for months when we have this vacancy. So, okay. We want to take this as a package, or we want to make decisions one at a time on this?
I think it should, my thought is to do interlibrary loans separate from library assistance, separate from page. To
Okay,
do
Yes.
3 months.
so the first one I'm gonna ask for is a decision on moving the interlibrary loan librarian from from grade 3 to grade 4.
I make that motion.
Is there a second
I'll second it.
discussion? I seem to have heard the most consistent support in making that change. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. The next question is retitling the desk clerk to library assistant. And assigning the position, I'm gonna just put this out there, to grade 3.
Step 1.
Is there,
Grade 3, step 1.
well, yeah, it would just, yes, it would be step 1. I mean, we would start at the beginning of the steps. And if we make the grade change.
I have this is probably a small, well, this might be a small point. I think the title desk clerk should be changed to library assistant, regardless of the pay.
Okay,
It's almost like I want to get that separate, because the sooner we can start using terms like library assistant, I think we've got a better chance at hiring. So I don't want the grade to be tied to.
okay. I was gonna sort of put it out there as a proposal, and then if that failed, then we'd go to library assistant grade 2. But so next decision is, and I'll take a motion, to change the the title of desk clerk to library assistant. Is there a motion to do that?
There's a motion. I mean, so moved.
And I'll second.
Any more discussion about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so now we can stop talking about desk clerk. What is your wish as to what grade that position should be assigned to?
Let's make the motion that it's assigned grade 3. Let's just see what happens.
No disrespect to the transfer station, because they do a great job and
Yes.
polite, but
Yes,
I think it takes a little bit more skill and the variety of duties here as a library assistant than the transfer
and I think
station.
they're having trouble over there filling their,
Yeah, everyone's having trouble filling everything, frankly.
yeah.
Firefighters, police, the whole shooting matters.
You know, in one respect, a justification for this is not just, we are taking off one piece of the job and putting it in library page. So in some respects, we are making a change. Though I listened to you talking, it sounds like, oh my God, library page. Job too.
Yeah.
Good job, Susan.
Right,
Okay.
I got a job to apply for.
So is there a motion
You got things this
to
time.
assign the position library assistant to grade 3?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and Liz, I'll talk to you after, but I think you and I should go and meet with Connor
Yes.
about this, and I do appreciate your input on this, Anna,
Yeah.
because,
Really?
you know, having had the experience in the past, I appreciate it. I think one thing that the town is probably recognizes, but is struggling politically to adjust, is the wages of these, particularly, I think, particularly these part-time positions which have no other benefits.
Right.
It's not like these are, you pay a little less, but you get a great health package, you get retirement, you don't get anything except maybe paid leave or something like that,
You can-
paid
And
vacation.
you can go to McDonald's and have a rude attitude and not be able to count change for $16 or $17 an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
So the third one is a motion to add or restore the position of page and seek to hire a page at grade 1, step 1. I'll start at grade 1, step 1. I mean, it's in there now. Yeah.
Happens, right?
Okay. And I think, Liz, the amount of hours per week on that would be based on what you hire for library. It fits
Yeah.
within the budget, so it might only be 8 hours a week,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah, we can figure out the busier days or if
Okay.
they have sports.
So let's have a motion to add back the library page position at grade 1 for a variable hours per week based on budget availability. I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion about that? I don't have high hopes that that's gonna get filled anytime really soon, but you never know. There might be. And the other question with that, well, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I don't know that we need a motion on this, but can we I don't know if we have in a policy what age that person has to be, but could we lower that age to 16, minimum 16? Because then you get a junior or senior in high school,
Right, that's.
Can have them for a couple of years.
maybe a couple of years.
They probably have their driver's license.
Mhm.
There's also the buses for Oyster River and Cove Brown do their afternoon, at one of their stops in the afternoon is Ramistel over here.
So how old's your son?
She's 13.
Never mind.
But maybe in a couple of years.
Okay. I don't think we need a vote. We don't need a vote on that. I think we have a consensus on 16. I don't know what's in the job description.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I was
We'll
looking,
take a look.
I couldn't find it anywhere. It's gotta be somewhere. I just am not looking in the right place. But yeah, I had over in Nottingham, I think I had 6 people apply for that. Which was a fairly decent number. And that was after COVID, so.
So with the steps, you said they merit and not just annual, even though.
Yeah, what happens with those, you know, there's
Can
a
we do that
there's a
if
cost
we
of
have
living
a
adjustment.
change that's really good and after 3 or 4 months, we want to keep them and we bump them to step 2?
What we've
Is that a
done,
possibility?
I am cautious about that
Yes.
because we have other great staff and they don't get an extra step or a bonus.
That's not citing it grade 1 either.
Well,
Yeah, they're teenagers, these are adults who are running for these
Yeah.
positions.
I think we oughta, you know,
Have more respect.
I know Liz and I talked about, do we hire it this grade 2 and step 1 is grade 1?
I agree with grade 1 for the painter. I'm just saying
Yeah.
if the young person is really good after 4, 5, 6 months, can we bump them up to step 2?
I mean, everything else in town is, as far as I know, I don't know what other departments are really doing, but it's like that April 1 date, you know, just like a person who's hired now at step 1 is gonna go to step 2, April 1, because that's when
But that's the annual raise. But
Well, and it
it's
is-
based on merit, it can be anything.
it is, you're right, and the library is probably one of the only departments in town that years ago actually held back people's wages if they weren't performing well and gave them, you know, delayed it to a later date.
One of the reasons we all do it, we do it first is because we generally are gonna raise everybody's wage in the whole system, so every grade 3 is gonna get a bump throughout the system, and that actually has some budgetary concerns. And so we usually tie it to the budget
Right.
as
That's
opposed
like,
to,
wait, everybody's evaluation is done
right,
in winter so that it's all ready for April 1.
that's why it's all kind of done in April and only done once a year. Because if you if you bumped everyone, I mean, we generally consider everyone, if a year additional experience is part of the merit, and we're gonna do it across the board, and that's basically a chunk of change, especially those people who are full-time.
I mean, we would do that, if we made any decisions like that, it would only be if we can eat it in our budget. We wouldn't be looking for any extra expense. But I think we should give this a try. And if we get no applications or people laugh at us offering $12.15 an hour, well, we'll have to come back and talk about it again.
That might be a
Okay.
nice first job for someone.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
You're all-
And if it's local, they might be really local, so we'll give it a
75
shot.
cents an hour.
So we're done with that. I think we're all done with that whole thing, right?
Yes. We have to vote on Savannah.
Now we're gonna look through the rest of the,
Yes, you have to vote on
We have to vote on Savannah.
oh, we didn't vote on her. Oh, that's right, we did. all
We had to do the
this stuff.
positions first.
So is there a motion to approve hiring
Savannah Garrett.
Savannah Garrity as library assistant at grade, and she would be at grade 3, step 1, effective tomorrow?
I'll second the motion.
I guess I made the motion.
Or so moved, whatever.
Okay, everybody ready? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, now I thought this was gonna be a quick meeting, but I think that was gonna be more discussion. Next up on the agenda is the library building project. Everybody knows about the open house because everybody was there. It really, I think it was very good. It exceeded expectations as far as turnout and enthusiasm. I'm sure most of the people that attended were already supportive, or at least if they didn't have a library card yet, they were interested
They
in
were
being
interested in the library. Yes.
I had a question come up. from
Yes.
a couple People, they noticed there's an excessive amount of cabinets indoors, and they were wondering if we can repurpose those in the library.
My thinking is that, and this will be discussed with obviously the construction management and that sort of thing. Some of the cabinets, yes, we will need, but not 25 rooms worth of
Right.
cabinets. And so
Like,
I'm
can the rec
thinking
center use them?
we ought to be able to, well, I was thinking we could sell them,
Right, either one, yeah.
to-
Whoever doesn't need them. then-
Yeah, if somebody else in town
Right.
needs them, that's okay, but, the other thing, those doors are, we don't need 25 solid cherry doors.
Those are really nice.
And a couple of us were talking about, those could be made into tables.
Yes, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Each one has a little inkwell in the middle.
Have narrower tables, slice that end off, some have little windows in them, so you have to deal with that. And obviously excess can be sold. I remember one of the construction people said, redoing stuff, making those into something else can cost more than just buying new. Unless you have a volunteer, like apparently, I didn't know this, John Cafasso. Apparently some of the table we have out here that Vicky Roundy gave, he divided in half. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that. He did a good job. And I think he would be willing to. Great. No, I can't say that, but basically, that's part of when we get in there and with
I
the
didn't know if
construction management.
Sometimes construction, they take that stuff as part of.
Yeah, we would be telling them we don't want it to be, they can't take that away.
Right,
You know,
that's what I
it's
wondered.
easier to demo if they're just taking sledgehammers to everything, but those people who looked at them said, those are really good quality
Yeah.
cabinets. These are not cheap things, none of the materials there. Someone asked me about the windows, like over that nurse's station, which I had loved.
Yeah.
Is there a way to can we use those and some of the decorative pillars, right along the wall?
Yeah,
So I think
nicely done.
they're beautifully
That
done.
might come part of our $200,000 contingency to pay for that, taking those off carefully and repurposing them.
Yeah, or it might be that there may be, somebody in town that would be interested in helping to do some of that. Or we sell them off and you take them, you buy them and then you take them
Yeah,
away.
you take-
But we'll have plenty of time to figure that out, but you're right, it shouldn't be just a demo and throw it all away. There's a lot of.
And that might
stuff
increase the cost, but again, that contingency fee should
Yeah,
more than handle that.
so that's where that is. The foundation is, and I have publication on warrant article. The foundation's doing a pretty good job of appearing, I guess, at the dump station and
Transfer station.
transfer station, yeah, sorry. But no, the transfer station, and they have been doing, at rec events, they created a flyer that was vote yes on 21 and 22. And have been handing those out as people left rec with rec's permission. They were involved in that process. The rec commission themselves, I haven't seen them, taking any active role. They don't seem, for whatever reason, the folks there are real comfortable with taking a more active role, but they were happy to, have some assistance in getting flyers out to people. You all got the first, direct mail from the foundation, and a second one has been designed to go out, I think, the 1st of March. That's more about getting out the vote, that sort of thing. And the foundation, this is really foundation information. I don't have a fundraising update for you from them. I'll see what they have to say tonight as far as their budget. I know some more money has been coming in. They keep doing, various flyers to hand out at various settings that I think have a consistent look and are pretty nice and I think appreciated. Diane St. Jean is managing the Facebook posts and I get emails from her about, help me answer this one, help me answer that one. So we're putting that stuff together. Yes.
I was just gonna say that one person on the tour complimented on whoever that was, because they said it's so positive.
I forwarded that to Diane,
Oh,
and she really appreciated it.
Yes.
It's she's been putting in full-time work on this kind of stuff. And then Roger and I help with the writing of some of these responses. So, and I know I've got more homework on that tonight when I get home, but trying to get information out. There are some folks that will ask questions and it's just question after question after question. It seems like an endless kind of loop. And I guess you might have had that in the past. But we're trying to be just objective and positive and put out the information, make it as available as we can. So
People who are opposed are coming out in favor of the library this time. Which I think it's
a good sign.
a good sign, but
But
you know,
it's still a big number to get to 70%.
Right.
So that's foundation and communications, old business, elections 2024. Well, they're coming up. And you all know, we already talked a little bit about the, what do you call it? Candidate forum. And since trustees aren't opposed, I'm cautiously optimistic that there's not going to be a write-in campaign that would affect folks. What we still need to talk about and look for is alternates. I just asked Karen, who is willing to be an alternate, if she would put in her volunteer form for the select board. It's, I think, the first meeting after the elections.
Yeah, that is a point you have to make, because all those volunteer positions have to get renewed.
Yeah.
And that gives them that first meeting after the election.
And since our current alternate is running for an elected seat, we won't have any alternates except Karen, who needs to put in her volunteer. So we don't have to get it all done by May, but it still is, we still need to recruit someone. And some of the people I've seen really supportive of the new project or who've spoken up at deliberative and such, seem to me like they have might be some good folks to get engaged. So, but keep thinking and talking to folks about that. Friends report, Lydia.
So I think the only thing I share is just how Just Desserts was very, sold out. 85 tickets. It's a wonderful event.
2 winners.
Winners, yeah, tie, and then it was almost three. It was almost three.
Well, it
One
really
was
was
one
sort of
vote.
mother
already.
daughter, that was.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were
Two,
cute.
and then the other person,
it was a great success
Yeah.
to bring that back. So it was great. It was a great
Next
idea.
year, we're like 100 tickets. We're not.
Yeah, and not do the little
Not
trays.
crazy, yeah, trays.
Yeah.
okay.
So
I wonder,
All the people who bid on the trays were either
$8.50
trustees or friends.
was $10 ticket.
$5.
And we figured
Oh,
out we could have made
that's right.
more money.
But most of the trays sold for like $5 and $10.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What would it be? John Capasso said, I think it was $4.50.
So my suggestion though would be if the building passes in March,
When the
let's
building
wait
passes.
until we get into the new building to do the just desserts. Because it's so cramped in here.
It was cramped and luckily it was warm that day, so we couldn't have the doors propped open. But one woman I was talking to at the open house was like, she's like, I came, it was so crowded. She's like, I bought a ticket, I came, it was so crowded, I just got my food and left.
Yeah,
Okay.
so next year, but hopefully in a new location.
Mhm.
And the Friends, of course, did the refreshments for the open house very generously.
Yeah.
It was a very nice job.
People really loved it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So that was, it's on deck. It was a nice event. And I think they picked up a couple new friends.
Oh, good.
Yes, they did.
They did.
They did. They did.
This one, I gave a tour to these 2 older women, and one of them admitted to being 79. And her friend lives on Ramsdale Lane. And she said, I don't pay taxes. I live in an apartment at my daughter's house. And she said, I'd like to write out a check, but and I said, well, you could drop it off at the library, just, for the foundation. So,
Nice.
That's
Yeah, they
nice.
have envelopes for that.
Yeah.
So I don't have any new business. Does anybody have new business? We don't need a non-public. I don't think we ever got any other folks here for public comment. Anybody have any parting comments?
Could I give public comment?
Yes, you may, absolutely.
A few years ago, Liz, this is directed to you.
Okay.
They had a program of books that were about to be sent away. And they actually promoted them and you had a little slip in it that you could say keep or not keep.
Oh.
And it was kind of like going to a killed shelter. I always said keep these, because it felt like it was kind of one of those kills. That was kind of a fun way to.
Yes, that recently.
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Because I just bought four throwaways out there that were really excellent books. And I know.
I know she's going through the biographies and I'm trying to read them ahead of her. Let me check out a few more. See, they have a checkout on them. And it's like, yeah, no, actually that one's bad. But yeah,
We've been going through audiobooks too. You said.
Audiobooks.
I've got to go look and see what's back there for audio.
what she's been doing is, I think it's what we're up to, if it hasn't gone anywhere since 2018, 5 years.
And it's going to
It's
the,
going and she's finding some things that are really good. 2014. Things haven't been, who was it? She was saying, I can't believe nobody wants to read about. It was like, yeah, no, I can't understand that either. So some of them she has tried to, not in that particular, but she's like, sometimes we used to do it over at Nottingham. This isn't going anywhere. Just sort of put them out on displays and then they might go.
yeah,
And then they might not. But
or like Anna said, that,
yeah.
last chance.
No, the same thing the other day, because I always thought was great, and then I would look at them too and say,
Yeah.
oh, this looks interesting.
I was one of the big.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm a browser and I like displays and that will pique my interest. If I don't go up and down the aisles unless I'm looking for a particular one to see what King Solver has and I'll read an old one of that, but I don't just. How do you come up with? Just browsing in the stacks and say, this looks interesting.
Oh, I shouldn't go. I love to shelve, but I hate to shelve because I come out. All these out. Yeah.
I'm writing titles down.
Yeah, it's coming out. I'm bringing 3 back and coming out with 4.
So this is, I'm still not clear what this what you're talking about.
No, so it's any books that maybe we're gonna get weeded out and, put on the for sale or whatever, that those books before, there was a time where they would put them on a little shelf and say, last chance books, these haven't been out, just explaining, and then there was a paper inside, should we keep this book or not?
Oh,
That
okay.
kind of thing, yeah.
It was fun to do.
Yeah. And there were some books that you'd be like, oh, I would look at them, but it was kind of in its own little area, so
Yeah,
they weren't all
a couple of
through.
end caps, I think.
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been.
So you're voting on whether to keep it.
Yeah, but you would take it out then too. You would take it out and say, is this worth keeping?
They would have a lively new life.
Although I did say, I remember saying one,
Yeah, no, this could go,
please,
yeah.
please.
I would do, no, get rid of it, then I would buy it.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was kind of
No,
a fun
this one.
way,
This one,
like, last
I
chance.
thought one of
Okay.
them.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a good choice.
Leads me to a correct question. Going back to the director's report,
Yes.
about the periodical line.
Mhm.
What happened to,
People are still donating. What happened was I went through a subscription service. I had them give me all of them as one. And when I sent it over to accounts payable, I put a notation that, I wanted them to pay it out of last year's funds because we were going to be under, and they could do this. But because all the most of the subscriptions were not starting until this year, they wanted to pay it out of 2024. So I was fine. I do have to get, the friends owe me like 300, not me personally, but they owe like 300,
But
so I will need
They
to
have paid
reimburse.
800. Did they already give you some money?
They haven't given me the money yet.
So they owe you 800.
They owe me $800, which,
$800.
is just gonna offset the,
The new-
I did end up paying out of the donation some of the stuff that trying to get subscriptions to not automatically renew
Oh,
on a credit card is like pulling teeth.
right,
Yeah.
So there were some that were like gonna automatically renew if I paid for them on the card, and they weren't gonna be in this year. So those ones I paid for out of the donations account.
okay.
That went to those ones that, and then Interweave Knits. They're going, we've just gotten our last paper copy. They are selling few enough subscriptions that they're just all going online. Which I feel is
online?
Interweave net.
Interweave Knits.
Oh, that's
Digital.
And now they're emailing me every single day with new patterns, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? It's like, I could put it out there. Go home and knit them, yes, I
Did
admit.
we discontinue the Ancestry?
We discontinued Ancestry because it was getting virtually no use. It
Yeah, I
would
noticed that
sometimes
from
get
monthly
2,
statistics.
3, so we kept up with, nobody wants to come into the
No,
library
that's not
to
one
do
you can
it.
do remote.
Yeah, Heritage you can do at home, and
Okay, that's why that's getting used and the other is not.
yeah, so Ancestry,
Okay.
I didn't. We can, if we want to, subscribe to it again. Bobby left it open to me that, she's like, you can always come back. But nobody's looking for
I
it.
think it got much more use when we had that genealogy club.
Mhm.
It was very active and
Yes.
quite a large
We were
group.
until
But
COVID.
when COVID came along and it all went away, we haven't reactivated that, so.
No, and we can't ask Wendy to take it on.
No,
Poor
yes.
woman, she,
Oh,
I've had
she's-
multiple people say, can't we have something genealogy? And I've said, would you like to run it? And there's a lot less interest in running the group than having somebody else from the library run it for you, which is understandable. You have to really be.
And Wendy's been doing all these art classes in addition to the children's, which
Yes.
are very popular.
Yes, she's doing really well with that.
So going back to subscription, what do I do about the ones that I've donated?
Oh, right, because I used to get like a note saying, do you want
Yeah.
Yes.
to subscribe? I did.
So I think what I'm going to do
My
is,
sister let me subscribe to
Yes.
because it-
if you want to subscribe to it, I'm going to, yes, actually probably split out the bill and send the separate ones, collect that money, and then write a check partially to the subscription service and let the town pick up the cost of the other ones.
So we can if we give you a check, I mean, I didn't even do the exact amount, I just say, here's $50 or whatever.
And I'll keep a list of that, and then when the bill will come due, which will be in November or something like that, I will send them my part, and then I'm
Okay.
I'm gonna forget which, maybe I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:40.
6:47, looks like. Hey,
Oh,
that's a record.
Even all the discussion, yes.
Yes.